The latest news about the construction of the house will be at the end of the video clip. See to the end. Siberian hermit Agafya Lykova was taken to the hospital. The famous Siberian hermit Agafya Lykova was hospitalized in the Kemerovo region. The elderly recluse was taken by helicopter to one of the hospitals in the city of Tashtagal on the personal order of the governor. The reason why the woman had to turn to traditional medicine for the first time was acute pain in her legs. According to doctors, in a week she will be able to return to a normal way of life away from civilization. In the hospital room, Agafya Karpovna is clearly not at ease. It is warm here, there is hot water and food on a special menu. But what is comfortable for an ordinary person is a desperate act for a famous hermit. Therefore, she took icons, spring water and supplies to the mainland TV center reports. In my 70s, I was in the hospital for the first time. Months of self-medication are behind us, my legs are still aching in the spring. All hope was on the painkiller ointment, and that failed. I thought it would help my joints, but it's bad for me. My leg ached, the swelling was great, says Agafya Lykova. The fact that a doctor is needed, Agafya Lykova reported in a proven way. A kind of theory of 6 handshakes in the TAIGA version. Agafya Lykova sent a message through an intermediary that she needed medical help, that her legs were very sore. On behalf of the governor Oman Tuliev, the TAIGA hermit was sent to Tashtagal, where she will be examined by doctors of the Central District Hospital, said Anton Gorelkin, head of the State Department for Media Relations of the Kemerovo Region Administration. And this is at least a week. Agafya Karpovna hurries the doctors, her heart aches for the house and the farm. The goat must be milked, the chickens must be fed. After all, within a radius of hundreds of kilometers from the TAIGA's Lykovs, not a single settlement. Around the impregnable Altai Mountains. Almost 100 years ago, the Lykov family of old believers settled here, which was discovered by geologists in the late 1970s, and since then the fame of the recluses has not left them alone. Agafya saw strangers at the age of 33. From human attention, both then and now a clear practical benefit. Before the onset of winter, Agafya had everything she needed brought to her. Even a goat. River Inat Yeskokas TAIGA, the main breadwinners. You can only get here by helicopter or by river. In winter, there is high snow, mountains and a lot of bears. More than once Agafya Karpovna was offered to move into a house with all the amenities. But the answer is always the same: no. In the district hospital of Tashtagal, emergency care was provided to the hermit, the acute pain was removed. Agafya Karpovna feels well. So the mistress of TAIGA will be at home very soon. Well, I also want to tell you about the latest news about the construction of the house. The most difficult construction project in the region, the new house for Agafya Lykova, is almost ready. Russian industrialist and businessman Oleg Deripaska helped Agafya Lykova, who lives in the Sion TAIGA, with the construction of a new house. In the near future, the hermit will celebrate a housewarming party. The website, Ecology of Russia, National Project Ecology of the Russian Federation, in the reserve, Kakosky, reported. Agafya Lykova is the only surviving member of the family of old believers, found by geologists in 1978 in the Western Science. The Lykov family lived in isolation since 1937, and for many years the hermits tried to protect the family from the influence of the external environment, especially in relation to the faith. In 1990, the hermit moved to an old believer convent, but returned a few months later. Now 76-year-old Agafya lives alone on her Zaimka in the TAIGA on the territory of the Kakosky Nature Reserve. From time to time, voluntary helpers stay with her to manage the household. Sometimes the hermit herself asks for help. In the fall of 2020, she wrote a letter to Oleg Deripaska, in which she asked for a new loan. According to her, the old hut has completely fallen into disrepair. The entrepreneur agreed and took all the expenses on himself. Deputy Director of the Reserve, Kakosky, Sergei Kartovtsev, said that the task of the management of the protected area is to indicate the route and write out passes. Questions on construction are solved by representatives of Oleg Deripaska. Without our knowledge, no car will enter the territory of the reserve. We coordinate the work and organize the access regime for the builders, he said. The construction of a hut for Agafya Lykova is called the most difficult construction project in the region. It's not the scale of the construction, but the inaccessibility of the place. The territory where the hermit lives is completely wild. The nearest civilization is located 100 kilometers away. Director of the reserve, Kakowski, Viktor Nepomniachtchi told the website, Ecology of Russia, National Project Ecology of the Russian Federation, about the details of the construction. This is not a grand object. The house is 6 by 5 squares. Agafya Lykova herself chose these dimensions and layout. It's just an average house, just like the one she had. Made of timber, but with a warm veranda. Why from a bar everything is very simple. You can't cut wood in the reserve. The objects that were there historically, he said. According to the director, Samka is not an object of capital construction. The work does not involve the construction of a tape foundation, communications and septic tanks. In addition, the construction of capital facilities in the reserve is prohibited. Agafya Lykova herself oversees the construction of the hut, choosing the design as simple as possible. It does not require Venetian plaster and stretch ceilings. The construction was supposed to be completed by the new year, but the hermit decided to spend the winter in the old house. The project is in its final stage. In about a month, Agafya will be able to move to a new home. The cost of the hut is not disclosed. None of the employees of the reserve, Kakowski, is familiar with the estimate. I believe that the most expensive thing is delivery. It's hard and far, not every technique will get there. They deliver it by water, on rafts, on airboats, Nepomniachtchi said. The hut was put in a balkan, then the logs were numbered and disassembled. On tractors and cars, the materials were transported to the recreation center near the Ada River, 250 kilometers from Agafya's home. With the help of airboats, the timber was brought to the TAIGA. In total, it took about 18 such flights. The representative of Oleg Deripaska, in a conversation with the correspondent of Ecology of Russia, National Project Ecology of the Russian Federation, also did not name the estimate, but noted the modesty of the project.